Sometimes you have to jump in before you see the proof. I think that true confidence comes from without and within, but mostly from without. Now, huge caveat to this, obviously everyone has intrinsic value, and until you understand that you are a valuable and uniquely created person that has a purpose on this planet, maybe don't even watch this video, because we have to get there first before we can level up and become our true and best, most confident versions of ourselves. But what do I mean by this? There's a current idea that you're the baddest boss babe, no matter what you're doing, even if you're sitting on the couch, ignoring all of your goals, having no close relationships, or working towards anything. And while I always advocate for self-love and grace and rest, any good thing can become a bad thing depending on how you're using it. So I want to bust the confidence myth that it only comes from the inside, and that the people you see who are confident are that way because of how they speak to themselves only. I have been there, trying to fill my life with positive affirmations and content and trying to build up my self-esteem internally only. And it helps. However, my verdict is in, and I think that it's not enough. True confidence comes from doing the things you told yourself you were going to do, as well as talking to yourself in a kind way. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 things that are actionable steps that you can use to actually grow your confidence permanently and feel better about yourself in the long term. You will never be confident unless you start keeping your promises to yourself. You have to stop negotiating with the worst parts of yourself. You have to stop negotiating the things that are going to move you forward in this life and take care of yourself. The more that you can trust yourself to show up and to do the things you said you were going to do, to provide the best life for yourself, to set boundaries and have standards and keep those promises that you made for yourself, the more confident you're going to be. And think about it this way. When we are thinking about confidence in other people, we think about how much we trust them, how reliable they are to do something. We can even be confident in people in a negative way, saying, I am super confident that that person is not going to do this thing because they haven't done it in the past, because of their character, etc., etc. Are you putting yourself in a position where you are building negative confidence against yourself, building up proof that you are not to be relied upon for yourself, that you are someone who doesn't keep their promises, does not do the little things that they've put on their list? I was just listening to Alex Hermosi talk about, in the career world, his advice for confidence. And a part of that is that he said you have to build up a mountain of proof. That is the key to confidence, is doing things and continuing to do things until you see progress. And then you have more proof, and you build on that, and you build on the fact that you continue to show up for yourself. I think this concept can be a little hustle culture-y. However, I do think that it's important to understand you can set your goals really gently. You can set your goals in a way where they're not overwhelming, where they're easy for you, where you can continue to show up for yourself with ease and happiness. But if you're not even doing those things, it still takes discipline to get yourself to go for a walk for 10 minutes. It still takes discipline for you to say no to the guy who is ghosting you and say yes to treating yourself with respect. Even the little things in our lives, we have to show up and make sure that we are relying on ourselves like we would show up for the people in our lives. You know, in an ideal world, our parents are the ones when we were younger who gave us confidence. And that's because they always were supposed to be reliable. They were supposed to be there for us to make sure that we could go out and take risks and experience things when we were kids, and they were going to be there in case we fell down. And now that we're adults, whether or not you had that as a child, you still have to be that person for yourself now. You have to be the person who is there to show up for yourself, to do the things that you said you were going to do, but also keep your promise in the way that you treat yourself when you fall short, or when you fail, or when something doesn't turn out the way you want. I want you to think about for a second. It is close to the new year. A lot of people are reflecting on who they want to be this year. And I want you to think about, if you have a plan for the type of person you want to be and the things that you want to do, every action that you take, are you showing yourself that you are reliable, that you are someone that you can trust? Because just like you have a relationship with everyone else in your life, you have a relationship with you, and you're not going to be confident in yourself, confident in your abilities, and trust yourself if you continue to break your promises. Okay, the scary one is to push yourself past your comfort zone. When I turned 20, I said that this is going to be the year of facing things that scare me. And one major example of this was when I did a zipline course in Tennessee, when I had this tremendous fear of heights. And there is nothing that compared to the experience of being 100 feet over a river and moving through this fear. You know, I also competed in many sales competitions this year. I started this YouTube channel, and I'm not somebody who is unafraid of presenting and someone who just with ease, you know, goes up onto a stage or goes in and competes. I get really nervous and sometimes I completely break down. It's not a natural experience for me to do something like this. But I pushed myself and I continued to expose myself to things that were scary. They were terrifying in the moment, and now they're normal. You have to go and then you will see the results. Then you will find out whether or not it's scary or whether or not it's going to destroy your life. You have to talk yourself into just doing it first. I think for some reason, there is too much of a narrative right now that the cure to anxiety and the cure to our fears is to comfort ourselves and maybe over comfort ourselves and stay in a very nurturing place. And while I think that obviously, you know, that is so beautiful in so many ways, and I need that myself as someone who is a sensitive person and someone who needs time and grace and love and have no shame in her life. But at the same time, if you give yourself too much grace, if you let your anxieties and your fear control your life and you don't do things, even the small things that are pushing you towards a life of less fear, or actually, let me revise that. I don't think we ever have a life of less fear. I think we have a life of more courage. And courage is something you build up like anything else. And it makes you confident the more courageous you are, the more risks you're willing to take. You just never know if teaching yourself how to talk to a stranger, how standing the wrong way in an elevator, how going for the promotion or signing up for a competition or doing a run or whatever it is that scares you even slightly could produce long-term results for your life. Nobody, absolutely nobody, found lifelong partners without a little bit of fear and courage. Nobody started a business without courage. Nobody started taking better care of themselves and cutting people out of their lives, or at least minimizing contact with people who hurt them, without courage. So even if you feel like it's not affecting you right now, your best life and your complete confidence in yourself could be just one tiny little fear away. It could just be one little step in the right direction of courage for you. Step 3 is to accept where you are and push for more. I really want to be someone who is soft and someone who is loving and someone who gently pushes. So I'm not saying that this is like a, you've gotta go and prove it to yourself, and what are you doing? Go to the gym for 5 hours every day. No. That's not what I'm saying at all. And that's why accepting where you are is so crucial to this, because what you resist in your life persists. That is just such a great thing to have in the back of your mind. If we continue to berate ourselves for not being perfect, we will never want to attempt anything. And I know that from personal experience and living in a life where I was constantly being pushed and pushed and pushed by society, by family members saying, you can do better, you can do better, you can do better. And sometimes if you don't accept where you are and the condition you're currently in and love yourself regardless and then push for more, there can be so much shame that is just paralyzing and prevents you from being the most confident version of yourself. Confident people do not hate themselves, and confident people are people. People are going to make mistakes. People are not going to stick to the plan 100% of the time. And so therefore, I feel like I'm using like the, what's it called? Transitive! It's a transitive property of equality. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm such a nerd. Okay. Okay. So, what I'm saying is if confident people don't hate themselves and confident people are people and people make mistakes, then confident people make mistakes and they don't hate themselves. It is essential that you do that as well. I'm at a crossroads right now where I don't feel completely confident in my body. And it's because I know that I could have been taking better care of it, and I want to take better care of it in the future. Now, the reason why I still feel confident in myself and I still feel confident overall, especially enough to post this video, is that I can completely accept and love myself the way that I am now, knowing that I am intrinsically valuable, that my mistakes don't define me, but also knowing that I love myself too much to be subpar and to have a health that is subpar. And the thing is that I have proof of concept in other areas of my life. Sometimes you have to do that with a very hard area. Accept where you are because it could be a very hard position that you're in right now, and look for evidence in other areas where you have showed up and you have done it. And even if you don't have proof in this specific area, because right now I'm not faced with proof in this specific area. I have been relatively healthy before, but I've always kind of felt like the slightly overweight girl. And so I want to get past that completely. But I have proof in other areas of my life. And when you are somebody who is committed to showing up, loving yourself, accepting where you are, taking note of where you are, and then gently pushing yourself to the next spot, that is when you feel so incredibly confident. You feel like, so what? So what? I made a mistake. I'm a person. I'm still cool. I am intrinsically valuable, but I also know that I'm me and I want more for myself. So I'm going to push myself to do more while accepting where I am. It's not love to accept too much or push too much. You have to have that balance there because you don't want to accept a subpar life for yourself. That is not self-love. But if you're constantly pushing yourself, that can so easily turn into shame and cause you to burn out. And that does not create a good life either. And it definitely does not make you confident when you are constantly only acknowledging the ways in which you need to improve and not the ways in which you are already showing up for yourself or the capabilities you have to show up for yourself. If you're looking for some tips on how to show up for yourself in a more gentle and relaxed way, check out this video right here. We're taking a million takes today, but we're gonna get it done.